Dear student, welcome back again in our today's session. So, as you can see that today we are going to discuss about on the topic stratified sampling. In my previous lecture, I have already discussed about sampling and the types of sampling, and now today we are going to talk about on the topic stratified sampling. So first we will understand what is stratified sampling. If we talk about the stratified sampling, so basically stratified sampling is a method used to collect data from a large group by breaking it down into a smaller and a similar group. This ensures that each group is represented fairly in the sample. So imagine if you are at a music festival with a different stage for rock, pop, and the jazz music. To understand the festival opinions, you wouldn't just ask people from one stage. Instead, you had to ask a few people from each stage to get a mix of views. So in this way, we can say that stratified sampling is a method of a sampling that involves the dividing a population into a smaller groups or strata based on the shared characteristics. These strata are the mutually exclusive and collectively executive subsets of the population. A sample is then drawn from each stratum, usually in a way that maintains the proportionate representation of each stratum in the overall population. So we can say that in a stratified sampling, the large group is divided into subgroups based on their characteristics like the age, gender, location, or income. Then a random sample is taken from each subgroups. This way, the sample reflects the diversity of the larger group, making the results more accurate, more reliable, and more valid. By including a range of perspectives, stratified samplings help you to get a more complete understanding about the group and about the sample which you are going to study. It is like taking a snapshot of the entire population, entire geographical population, not just a one state. So, if we talk about stratified sampling, so overall we can say that stratified sampling refers to a random sampling techniques that clubs items of a whole population into a different groups called strata based on their similar characteristics, and then sample from each stratum are taken whether proportionally and disproportionately. So now we are going to discuss about the key steps of stratified sampling. So as you can see that we have mentioned a few key steps of a stratified sampling. So as you can see that the first step is define the population. That means identify the entire group of interest from which you want to draw a sample. Basically, identify the group you want to study or collect the data from the particular group. This could be a pupil, animal, or even objects. For example, all the students in the school or all the customers of a company can be the population. Now, the second step will be the identify the strata. If we talk about the second stage, in the second stage, we have to divide the population into the non-overlapping groups. that this is called strata, based on a characteristics relevant to the research. Common examples of strata including like age, gender, income, level, and educational level, and can be a geographical location. So in the second stage, you have to divide the population into a smaller subgroups called a strata. These subgroups should be similar to each other and different from others. Think of characteristics like age, gender, location, income, etc. Now, the third stage will be the determine the sample size. Under this stage, you have to decide the total number of the samples needed from the population. So decide how many individuals you need to collect the data from. This depends on the size of the population and the level of the accuracy you need. A larger sample gives a more accurate results, more accurate, reliable and valid results. Now, the next stage is allocate the samples to strata. In this stage, determine how many samples to draw from each stratum. This can be done proportionally. Proportionally, that means where the size of the sample from each stratum is proportional to the size of stratum, or equally, where each stratum is sampled equally regardless of its size. So decide how many individuals from the each stratum should be included in the sample. This is usually done proportionally to the size of each stratum. For example, if 30% of the population is in the grade 1 to 3, then 30% of the sample should come from this stratum. After the allocate sample to strata, now the next one is draw the samples. Under this stage, randomly select the samples from each stratum. This can be done using the sample random sampling or a systematic sampling method within each stratum. So randomly select the individuals from each stratum to include in the sample. This can be done using the techniques like a random number generation or the lottery system. After this stage, the next and the last step will be the combine the sample. That means put all the selected individuals from each stratum together to form the final sample. This sample should now represent the diversity of the original population. So once samples are drawn from each stratum, combine them to form the overall sample. So by following these steps, you can create a stratified sample that accurately reflects the characteristics of the population you are studying. This helps to ensure reliable and valid results. After discussing about the key steps of stratified sampling, now next we are going to discuss about the stratified sampling may be of three types. So now we are going to discuss about the types of stratified sampling. So as you can see that the first one is disproportionate. If we talk about this kind of methods, it means that the size of the sample in each unit is not proportionate to the size of the unit but depends upon the consideration involving the personal judgment and convenience. This kind of method of sampling is a more effective for comparing strata which have a different error possibilities. It is a less effective and efficient for determining the population characteristics. So in this way, we can say that this method is a kind of method where the sample size is not allocated proportionally to the population size of each stratum. This means that the some state may be a oversample to the undersample compared to the sample of population size. Take examples. If we talk about the examples of this method, suppose a company wants to conduct a survey on employee stratification across its department. The company has the following number of employees in each department. So as you can see that in HR 50 employees, sales 300 employees, IT 150 employees. So under this method, the company decides to take a sample of 20 employees from each department regardless of their size of the department. This is a disappropriate sample because the sample size does not reflect the proportion of employees in each department. Now, the next one is proportionate. If we talk about this type of method, it refers to the selection from each sampling unit of a sample that is proportionate to the size of the unit. Advantages of this procedure include the representativeness with respect of variables used as the bias of classifying the categories and increase the chance of being able to make comparisons between strata. Lack of information on a proportion of the population in each category and faulty classification may be listed as disadvantages of this method. So if we talk about proportionate, so this method, this sampling method, where the sample size is allocated to each stratum in a proportion to its population size. This means that in a stratum makes up 20% of the population, it will also make up 20% of the sample. Take an example of this method. Using the same company example, like HR 50 employees, that means 10% of total. Sales 300 employees, that means 60% of the total. And the IT have a 150 employees, that means 30% of the total population. So if the company decide to take a sample of 50 employees in a total, they would sample proportionally. That means we will take the 5 employees from the HR department, 5 employees, that means 10% of the 50. And we will take the 30 employees from the sales department, and from the IT department we will take 50 employees. Now, next one is optimum allocation. This is the last method of stratified sampling. So basically, if we talk about the optimum allocation, stratified sampling is a representative as well as a comprehensive than other stratified samples. It refers to the selecting units from the each stratum. Each stratum should be a proportion to the corresponding stratum, the population. The sample obtained is known as an optimum allocation sample. So if we talk about the optimum allocation, so optimum allocation stratified sampling is a method where the sample size is allocated to each stratum based on their variability of the data within each stratum. Strata with more variability get a larger sample size, while those with less variability get a smaller sample size. Take an example of this method. So consider a study of household income in a city divided into 3 strata based on neighborhoods A, B, and C. The population and variations of the income in which neighborhood are as follows, like neighborhood 1, A, 1,000 households, variations of income 25,000, and second B, 2,000 household, variations of income 4,000, and C, 5,000 household, variations of income 3,500. So in this way, we can say that this is the example of optimum allocation. Take another example of optimum allocation. A researcher wants to study the average heights of the student in a school. They find that grade 7 to 9 has a more variability in the height than grade 1 to 3. To minimize the errors, they allocate a larger sample size to grade 7 to 9 and a smaller sample size to grade 1 to 3. So these explanations provide the clear understanding of each type of stratified sampling. After discussing about the types of stratified sampling, now next we are going to discuss about the advantages of stratified sampling. So if we talk about the advantages of stratified sampling, so here we have mentioned a few advantages of stratified sampling. As you can see that the first one is increased precision. If we talk about the increased precision, so stratified sampling can provide more precise estimates than a sample random sampling because it ensures that each subgroup is adequately represented. That means stratified samplings helps to increase the precision of your results by dividing the population into a smaller subgroup. This is called strata. You can get a more accurate, more reliable, and a more valid results with the help of stratified sampling. This is because the individuals within each stratum are more similar to each other, reducing the variability and increasing the reliability of your data. Now, the second one is greater representativeness. If we talk about the greater representativeness, it ensures that the important subgroups are represented in the sample, making the results more generalization to the entire population. That means stratified sampling ensures that your sample is representative of the entire population by including individuals from each stratum. You can be confident that your sample reflects the diversity of the population. This is especially important when studying a rare or unique characteristics that may be overlooked in a random sample. Now, the third one is more detailed analysis. If we talk about the more detailed analysis, so stratified sampling allow for more detailed analysis of subgroups within the population. By analyzing each stratum separately, you can identify the trends, patterns, and a relationship that may be not be a appearance in the overall population. So this can lead to a deeper understanding of the researcher topic and a more targeted intervention of the recommendations. So stratified sampling allow for separate analysis of each stratum, which can provide a deeper understanding and insight into the characteristics and the behaviors of a different subgroups. Now, the next one is reduce sampling error. So stratified sampling reduces the sampling error by ensuring that the sample accurately represents the population. So by dividing the population into a subgroups and sampling from each one, researcher can minimize the impact of extreme values or outlines, leading to a more precise results and conclusions. So this approach reduces the likelihood of biased results and providing a more accurate picture of the population. Now, the next one is increase the efficiency. Stratified sampling increase the efficiency by allowing the researcher to focus on a specific subgroups, reducing the need of a large sample size and providing a more accurate results with a fewer resources. This streamlined approach saves the time, money, and efforts, making the researcher process more efficient by targeting a specific subgroups. Researcher can collect the data more quickly and with the less resources, leading to a faster insight and decision making. Now, the next one is improved accuracy. If we talk about the improved accuracy, so stratified sampling improved the accuracy by reducing the variability and sampling error, ensuring the representativeness and precision and providing a more accurate picture of the population. By minimizing the error and increasing the representativeness, stratified sampling provides a more reliable results leading to a better conclusion and decision making. This approach ensures that the sample accurately reflects the population, reducing the risk of the inaccurate conclusion. Now, the next one is enhance the generalization. So, stratified sampling enhances the generalizations by ensuring that the sample represents the diversity of the population. So, basically, by including the individuals from each subgroup, researchers can apply their finding to the real world situation, making the researcher more relevant and useful. This approach increases the validity of the conclusions, allow the researchers to make a more informed decisions and the recommendations. Now the last one is better handling of extreme values and outliers. So stratified sampling handles the extreme values or outliers more effectively by minimizing their impact on the sample. So by dividing the population into the subgroup, researcher can identify and isolate extreme values, ensuring that they do not skew the results. This approach provides a more accurate picture of the population, reducing the risk of inaccurate conclusions and decision making. So with the help of by using the stratified sampling, researcher can increase the quality, reliability and validity of their data, leading to a more accurate conclusions and results for better decision making. After discussing about the advantages of stratified sampling, next now we are going to discuss about the disadvantages of stratified sampling. So here, as you can see that we are going to discuss about the disadvantages of stratified sampling. So the first one is complexity. More complicated to administer as compared to simple random sampling. So stratified sampling is a complex method that requires a very careful planning and execution. It involves dividing the population into the subgroups, selecting the samples from each subgroup, and analyzing the data separately. This complexity can lead to errors and make the process time consuming. Now, the second one is requires detailed population information. It needs a detailed information about the population to create an appropriate strata. In simple terms, we can say that stratified sampling requires a detailed information about the population, including the characteristics of each subgroups. This information may not always be available or up to date, which can lead to an inaccurate result. Now, the last one is potential for misclassification. So, misclassification of individuals into an incorrect strata can be a biased result. So, stratified sampling relies on accurate classification of an individual into a subgroups. So, however, there is a risk of misclassification where individuals are incorrectly assigned to a subgroup. This can lead to a biased result and inaccurate conclusions. So, overall, while stratified sampling offers many advantages, it also has some disadvantages that needs to be considered. Researchers need to be carefully weigh the benefits and drawbacks before deciding whether to use this method. So that's all about the stratified sampling. Thank you.